Alright, so imagine this. You're a 28-year-old woman, and it's your big day, your wedding day. You've been dreaming about this moment for as long as you can remember. The dress, the flowers, the vows, everything feels perfect. Then there's your sister, who's 26, standing beside you as your maid of honor. But instead of feeling the love and excitement you expected, there's a weird tension in the air. You don't know it yet, but something's off. Really off. Let me take you back to that moment when the first little seed of doubt was planted in your head. It wasn't anything obvious, nothing glaring. It was a little remark, a small comment that seemed harmless at first but hit you like a ton of bricks when you thought about it later. I don't get why you're making such a big deal about this. It's just a wedding. That was it. But when you replayed it in your mind over the next few hours, it nagged at you, like a fly you couldn't swat away. Your sister had always been, well, your sister. You'd grown up together, shared secrets, fought over who got the last piece of pizza, and lived through all the family drama that comes with sibling bonds. You never expected her to be anything but thrilled for you on the happiest day of your life. But now, in the weeks leading up to the wedding, she's started acting different. She's not the one calling you, asking how everything is going or offering help. Instead, you find yourself having to chase her down, reminding her about the little details, like, oh, her maid of honor duties, because she's been strangely distant. She says things like, I'm fine, don't worry about me, but you can't help but feel that there's something simmering underneath the surface. The tension peaks at the rehearsal dinner. You're standing in front of all your family and friends, going over last-minute instructions, when you catch her standing off to the side. She's watching you, but it's not with the warm, proud look you were hoping for. No. Her eyes are narrow, calculating almost, and for a split second, you feel a chill crawl up your spine. Fast forward to the wedding day. Everything's supposed to be perfect. You look incredible, your partner looks at you like you're the only person in the world, and the ceremony goes without a hitch. But as the night progresses, and the celebration kicks into high gear, something unexpected happens. The mood shifts. There's a weird vibe, and it doesn't take long for you to realize that it's coming from your sister. She's drunk, sure, but it's more than that. There's bitterness in her eyes. She makes snide comments about your wedding, about how nothing's really that special, or how you could have spent the money on something more practical. You try to brush it off, telling yourself it's just the booze talking. But when she pulls you aside later and says, I bet you think this is all just about you now, huh? You finally understand what's been lurking under the surface all this time. Jealousy. Plain and simple. The whole night starts to feel like a slow-motion train wreck. Every little thing she does seems designed to bring you down. From the passive-aggressive remarks to her exaggerated sulking in the corner, you can feel it. It's not just jealousy. It's a full-on vendetta. When the night ends, and the celebrations are finally winding down, you're left standing there, stunned and heartbroken. You don't know how to fix this. How do you repair a relationship that's been damaged by something so petty? It seems impossible. But that's not where the story ends, though. You think, okay, I'll give her time. She's my sister, after all. So you try to reach out to her afterward, thinking maybe the anger will dissipate with time. But things don't get better. In fact, they get worse. Months later, when you announce that you're expecting a baby, it's like the jealousy has only deepened. Instead of feeling the excitement you'd hoped for, you're met with silence. And not just any silence. It's the kind of silence that screams resentment. Your sister barely acknowledges it. When she does, it's more like a polite formality than genuine joy for you. But what's worse? She starts making subtle digs. I bet your life is going to be so perfect now with the baby and all, she says one day. You try to brush it off, but inside, you're seething. Something in you snaps. You've tried for months to fix things, to be the bigger person, but she's pushing every button, every boundary. And now, here you are, holding your baby, a little bundle of joy that you've worked so hard for. You've made the decision that your sister will not meet your child. Not yet. Not while she's like this. The anger you feel is intense, but so is the hurt. What happened to your sister, the girl you once trusted with your deepest secrets, the one you thought would be standing beside you during every important moment of your life? Now, you're torn. You want to protect your baby from all the negativity, from the person who has shown nothing but resentment. But you also know that deep down, the love you once shared with her might never come back. And that thought? It's a punch to the gut. But there's no turning back now. You've drawn a line in the sand. Your sister won't meet your baby until she figures out what's more important, her own pride or the family that's still standing. And for the first time in your life, you're finally starting to realize, maybe it's time to stop chasing after someone who doesn't want to be found. Okay, so things don't just stay bad. No, they get worse. You'd think that after all the drama surrounding your wedding, the last thing you'd have to deal with is your sister pulling more stunts. But there she is, lurking in the background, simmering with resentment, and making sure everyone knows she's not okay with how things went down. It starts innocently enough, or at least it seems that way at first. Your sister reaches out to you. You know, the "hey, I think we need to talk" kind of message. You're hesitant, but part of you wonders, maybe she's finally ready to apologize, maybe she's starting to see the damage her jealousy has caused. You've been waiting for this moment, hoping she'd come around, but deep down, there's that nagging voice in the back of your head telling you it's not going to be as simple as you hope. You agree to meet up. A coffee shop, the place where you used to sit for hours talking about everything and nothing. You walk in, heart pounding a little. It's been a while since you've really talked, and you're not sure what to expect. She's already there, sitting with her arms crossed. She looks like she hasn't slept in days, her eyes tired, her face pale. But there's something else, too. Something that feels off. You sit down, unsure of what to say. You try the whole "how are you" thing, but she doesn't take the bait. Instead, she jumps right into it. "You really think I'm just going to let all that slide?" she says, her voice almost dripping with venom. And just like that, you know. The apology? It's not coming. This isn't the conversation you thought it would be. Your stomach drops, and the weight of it hits you harder than you expected. You try to keep it together. "I've been waiting for you to come around," you start, your words a little shaky. "I've tried to give you space, but this isn't healthy. You ruined my wedding, and now you want to come back into my life like nothing happened?" You can feel the anger bubbling up now. The nerve of her, acting like she's the victim. You are the one left in the wreckage of her jealousy. She scoffs. "You're such a hypocrite. You think I ruined your wedding? How about you ruined our relationship?" Her words cut deep, sharper than you expected. It's like a slap to the face. You thought this would be about understanding. About maybe clearing the air. But no! She's trying to turn it all around, to make you feel like you're the one at fault. She's pulling out every trick in the book, making you question your feelings, your perspective, and the reality of the situation. And then she hits you with it. "I should have been the one getting married. You always got the spotlight, didn't you? Even when we were little. Now, you've got this perfect little life, and I'm stuck here in the shadows. You think I ruined your wedding? You're the one who ruined my life." Her voice cracks at the last part, but you can't tell if it's from sadness or something darker. You don't know how to respond. This isn't the person you grew up with. This is someone you barely recognize, and honestly, someone you don't even know if you can love anymore. But the words keep coming, like she's trying to tear down every last bit of your defenses. You really think I'd let you meet my baby after everything? You ask, voice trembling. You never thought you'd be saying those words. You've spent so long wanting your sister to be a part of your life again, but how can you let her near your child when all she's done is bring nothing but chaos into your world? Her eyes flare with anger. So that's it then? You're just going to shut me out? You think you can control this whole situation? Well, let me tell you something. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be in your life whether you like it or not. And there it is. The challenge. The battle lines are drawn, and it's clear now, she's not going to let this go. She's dug her heels in deep, and she's playing for keeps. You stare at her, heart pounding, not sure what to do next. What can you do? You can't let her manipulate you like this, can you? But a small part of you, just a small part, still wants to believe there's hope. That maybe, somehow, this can be salvaged. You shake your head. I'm not going to let you hurt my family. Not anymore. The words leave your mouth before you even have time to think about them, but you know they're the right ones. They feel right. For once, you're standing your ground. But she's relentless. You think you're better than me? You think you've got it all figured out? Newsflash, you don't. You're just as messed up as I am, just too proud to admit it. She stands up abruptly, knocking her chair back. Fine. You want to play this game? I'll play. But don't think I'll just fade away. I'll be waiting. She storms out, leaving you sitting there, breathless, hands shaking. And that's when it hits you. This is real. She's not going to back off. Not until she gets what she wants. And it's not just your baby she's after, it's everything. Your family, your life, your happiness. And now you have to figure out how far you're willing to go to protect it all. Because this battle, it's just beginning. You can feel it in the air now, things are changing. The moment your sister stormed out of that coffee shop, you knew it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. She's made it crystal clear that she's not just going to bow out quietly. She's pissed, and when your sister's angry, it's like a storm brewing, unpredictable and destructive. For the next few days, you try to stay focused on your baby, on your life, on the things that actually matter. But it's hard, because your sister's not just staying in her corner, sulking. No. She's making moves. You start getting texts. Random, cryptic messages that seem like they should have been sent to someone else, but you know she's just trying to send a message. Hope you're happy now. You ruined everything. That's it. No explanation. No context. Just that one line. You don't even know how to respond. Is she talking about your wedding? About the baby? You could block her, but that feels like giving in. You want to fight. But the fight isn't just about the past anymore. It's about her demanding space in your future, your family's future. Then comes the phone call. You pick up without thinking, and her voice is immediately in your ear, loud and angry. Do you seriously think I'm going to let this slide? You think you can just shut me out, like you're some perfect little family? You don't get to do that. You need me in your life. And don't think I won't make it known how you've been treating me. You let her rant. There's no point interrupting. You've heard it all before, the endless accusations, the blame. You want to yell back, to throw it all in her face, but instead, you just let her talk. The more she talks, the clearer it becomes, this isn't about the wedding. This isn't even about the baby. It's about control. She's been trying to control everything for years. From your family dynamics to how people perceive her. You just never realized how deep it ran, how far she'd go to keep things in her grip. And now she wants to control how much access she has to your baby, too. And you? You're not having it. You need to stop, you finally say, your voice calm but firm. You've crossed a line, and I'm not going to let you do that to my family. You expect her to hang up, but instead, there's silence on the other end. A long pause. Then she says, almost too quietly, "You're not going to keep me from my niece." You feel a shiver run down your spine. That's the first time she's mentioned your baby in all this. And it hits you, like a punch in the gut. She doesn't want to reconcile, not really. She doesn't want to heal the relationship. She wants access to your baby, and she wants it now. And that's when you realize, this isn't just some petty family drama. This is about boundaries. Yours. Her entire life, she's pushed past every line you've drawn, crossed every boundary without hesitation. But this time, it's different. You have a child now. You have someone to protect. And you're not going to let her bulldoze her way into your life, especially not after everything she's done. So, you make the decision. No more back and forth. No more hoping for a change. You text her. Short, simple, to the point. "I'm not ready for you to meet my baby. You need to work on yourself first." You hit send and immediately regret it. The silence that follows is deafening. You don't know if it's because you're scared of what might come next or because you feel guilty for what feels like a betrayal. You know, deep down, this is what you've had to do for your own peace of mind. But it doesn't stop the worry from creeping in. That night, she shows up at your door. You're not expecting it, and for a moment, you just stand there, frozen. She's not even knocking, just standing there on your doorstep, eyes blazing, her fists clenched. It's like the tension of everything that's been building up between you two has finally reached the breaking point. You've never seen her like this. "You really think you can shut me out, huh?" she spits out, glaring at you. "You really think you're better than me now, that you can just pick and choose who gets to be a part of your life?" Her voice shakes with the mix of rage and desperation. She's not making any sense. None of this is rational. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't need to be rational. It just needs to hurt. And right now, she's letting every word fall like a bomb. "Please," you say, holding up your hands, trying to keep it together. "This isn't about us anymore. It's about my baby. I won't let you drag her into all this. You need to fix this. You need to show me you can be a part of my life again before I let you near her." And she just stands there, eyes wide, like she's been slapped. You can see the realization hit her, the weight of what you're saying sinking in. But she doesn't apologize. She doesn't back down. "You're not going to win this," she mutters, almost to herself. "I'll make sure of it." And just like that, she turns, storming off into the night, leaving you standing in the doorway, the weight of everything pressing down on your chest. It's not over. Not by a long shot. But for the first time in months, you feel a flicker of something, relief. You've made a choice. And maybe, just maybe, you can hold onto your family, your baby, your boundaries, without feeling guilty for it. But you know this is just the beginning. And whatever happens next, you'll be ready. The doorbell rings again. It's been a few weeks since the showdown, and you've been waiting for this moment, even if you didn't want to admit it. You weren't expecting her to just walk away. You knew it wasn't over. But part of you hoped, maybe, just maybe, she would realize the gravity of the situation. That she would respect your boundaries. But no! Of course, that's not what's happening. You open the door, and there she is. Your sister. But this time, she's not standing there with anger in her eyes. She's not shouting. She's broken. She's holding something in her hands. A small box. Your heart skips a beat. You've never seen her like this, vulnerable, almost apologetic. But don't let that fool you. You know better than to think this is some heartfelt reconciliation. It's a tactic. A way for her to weasel her way back into your life. She's always been good at playing on emotions. But you've learned to spot it. You've learned to spot her. I need to talk to you, she says quietly, voice shaky, like she's walking on eggshells. Her eyes are red, like she's been crying for hours. For a split second, your guard wavers. But only for a second. You remind yourself that this is the same person who practically ruined your wedding, the same person who hasn't stopped trying to break down your walls. She's good at making you feel sorry for her, making you believe that she's the one who needs fixing. But that's the lie. She's the one who needs to fix herself. Not like this, you respond, your voice firm. You don't get to just show up here and act like everything's fine. After everything you've done, this isn't how it works. She flinches at your words, but doesn't back down. Instead, she steps forward, holding the box out toward you. I brought this for her, she whispers. I want to make things right. Your mind races. The box. It's wrapped in plain paper, no fancy ribbon, no frills. But it's the gesture that hits hardest. It's not a gift. It's an attempt to claw her way back into your world. It's her way of pretending like the past few months didn't happen, like she hasn't been the villain in your story. And you can't let her do that. You won't let her. I'm not going to let you manipulate me again, you say, the words spilling out like they've been building up inside for so long. You don't get to waltz back in and play the role of good sister. It doesn't work like that anymore. Her face twists with frustration, her lips trembling. She pushes the box forward, but you don't take it. Please, she begs. I'm sorry. I know I messed up. I'm trying, okay? I want to be in her life. I want to be a part of your family. There it is again. The apology that isn't really an apology. The desperation, the need to be in control. You can see it in her eyes. She's not sorry for what she's done. She's sorry she's losing her grip on you. Sorry that you're finally standing up for yourself. I don't care what you want, you snap, the anger rising, burning hot in your chest. What matters is what I need, what my family needs. And right now, we need space from you. We need to heal. The words hit her like a punch to the gut. For the first time in a long time, she looks at you, really looks at you, and you can see the walls crumble. The mask slips. You don't understand, she says, her voice cracking. I'm losing you. And I don't know how to fix it. You're my sister. I can't just sit back and watch you shut me out. I can't. I need you. You want to feel for her. You really do. The guilt gnaws at you, the instinct to comfort her, to fix things. But you can't. You won't. Not like this. Not after everything she's put you through. You never understood boundaries, did you? You say, taking a step back. You don't get to dictate the terms of my life anymore. You don't get to manipulate your way into my family, my home, my heart. You lost that right a long time ago. Her face crumples. For the first time, you see the real her. Not the angry, jealous sister, not the manipulative one. But the person underneath it all, someone who is just as broken as she made you feel. I can't fix this, she says, tears spilling down her face. I can't fix what I did to you. But please, please don't make me lose everything. You look at her for a long moment, your chest tight, your heart conflicted. You never wanted things to get this far. But they did. And no matter how much it hurts, you know this is the right decision. I'm sorry, you say, your voice almost breaking. But this isn't about me. This is about my baby. And until you show me you're serious about changing, about being better, I can't let you near her. For a second, she just stands there, defeated. She doesn't fight back, doesn't try to make one last plea. She just looks at you, her face hollow, her eyes empty. And then she turns and walks away, the weight of the silence between you two louder than anything she could have said. You close the door behind her, your heart heavy, your mind swirling with the aftermath of it all. You don't feel relief. You don't feel victorious. You just feel tired. You've drawn the line. But you also know that this battle is far from over. The hardest part? It's not the confrontation. It's what comes next. The days after the confrontation are a blur. You're not sure what to feel, relieved, guilty, angry. Maybe a mix of everything. But what you know for sure is that you're standing your ground. You've drawn a line, and it's one you won't let her cross again. And yet, every time you pick up your phone, you can't help but check for her name. You know she's still out there, somewhere, stewing, plotting her next move. You know she's not going to give up. But what's been eating at you, more than anything, is that part of you still feels like you failed. Like maybe you could have handled things differently, said the right thing, given her that last chance. But you can't undo it now. You can't go back. The words you said that day, they were necessary. They were the truth, no matter how much it hurt. It's hard, though. The guilt gnaws at you. She's your sister. You've shared everything with her, laughed with her, cried with her. But this version of her, the one who's let jealousy consume her, who's tried to tear down your life to build her own up, this isn't the person you know, not the sister you grew up with. And for the first time, you realize that maybe that person is gone. That maybe the person she is now isn't someone you can just walk back into your life with a few apologies and a gift. Days turn into weeks, and the silence from her is almost suffocating. You can feel the distance, the space between you growing, stretching wider with every day. She's still angry, still hurt, but you can't keep catering to that. You can't keep putting your life on hold because she's struggling with her own issues. You've got a family now. A baby. And it's time to focus on what's best for you, what's best for your family. But just when you think maybe she's finally given up, you get a message. It's from your mom. Your sister's been going through a tough time. She's really sorry about everything. She wants to talk. Please just hear her out. You stare at the message, your thumb hovering over the screen. Part of you wants to respond. Part of you wants to believe that maybe, just maybe, she's ready to change. To admit that she messed up. But another part of you knows that you can't just take her word for it. Not anymore. Not after everything that's happened. You decide to meet her, but not at your house. No. You don't want to make it easy for her to walk in and out of your life like it's nothing. So, you choose a neutral place. A quiet cafe. Not a place of confrontation, but a place where you can just talk. If she's serious about mending things, this will be her chance to show it. You sit down first, order your coffee, and wait. Your hands are shaking slightly, the anticipation building in your chest. Will she show up? Will she even apologize? You don't know what to expect anymore. But then, she walks in. And everything in you tightens. She looks different. More subdued, more aware. Gone are the angry, defiant looks. Gone is the bratty, entitled version of her that you've spent months battling. She sits down across from you, not saying anything for a moment. And that silence? It's heavier than anything you've ever felt before. But you're not the first to speak. She is. I'm sorry, she says. I messed up. I was jealous, and I let it take over everything. I hurt you. And I can't take that back. It's not a perfect apology. It's raw. It's uncomfortable. But it's the apology you've been waiting for. The apology you never thought you'd hear. And that, in itself, means something. It's a start. But not enough to just forgive everything and move on. Not yet. I need you to understand something, you say, your voice steady but firm. You heard me. And it's not just about the wedding. It's about everything. The jealousy, the manipulation. You broke my trust. And that's not something that gets fixed with a few words. She nods, her eyes filled with a mix of regret and sadness. I know. I get it. I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I don't even know if you ever will. But I want you to know that I'm trying to be better. I've been working on myself. I'm going to therapy. I'm trying. And you see it. You see that she's not just saying this to win you over. There's a shift in her. A vulnerability you've never seen before. A recognition of her flaws, her mistakes. It's not enough to fix everything, but it's enough to give you hope that maybe, just maybe, things can get better. You take a deep breath. I'm not saying everything's forgiven, but I'll give you a chance. I can't just forget what you did, but if you really want to be a part of my life again, you've got to show me. Actions, not words. She nods again, her eyes softening. I will. I promise. And just like that, a small weight lifts from your chest. This isn't the grand reunion you thought it would be. It's not perfect, not the way you dreamed things would go. But it's progress. It's the first step toward healing. As you both stand up to leave, you can't help but wonder what the future holds. Maybe your relationship with your sister will never be the same. Maybe it'll take time, maybe years. But what matters now is that you've stood up for yourself, for your family. You've drawn the boundaries that needed to be drawn. And no matter what happens, you've taken control of your life. You walk out of the cafe, knowing you've made the right choice, the only choice. And while you're still unsure of how things will unfold, for the first time in a long time, you're at peace.